On the 10th of May, it was 4 years since West Ham United played their last ever game at Upton Park, or the Boleyn Ground, as it was called for the last season only, really. But, so, myself and Gonzo messed up a little bit. We didn't have this video done in time to do it. We're actually recording it after that Sunday as well. That's how badly prepared we are. So we missed the trick a bit. But we're going to do it. We're going to sit down. We're going to have a chat about our memory that day, because it was a day event. It wasn't just a 90-minute event. It was a day. But I thought we'd better get it done before you forget what happened, Gonzo.
Absolutely. It's always a danger, my friend. It's always a danger. And I knew we were going to do this video. So actually, only about half an hour ago, I was racking through my... We'll get onto that bit. But would you believe I'd actually forgotten that I'd asked Avit to come in, Alan, who does all our ladies' games, be familiar to a lot of people on the channel, to help me hold the camera to record an interview with Trevor Brooking at Pitchside. I'd completely forgotten. I don't know why. I've only remembered it about half an hour ago, which is disgusting, really, isn't it? There you go.
Well, it was a crazy old day, but mine, right? Mine started just before. It was a few days before. Because remember, we played Swansea on the Saturday.
Yeah.
I come down on the bus. Do you remember? This is how mental it was for me. Remember, I come down on the bus on the Friday night, went to the Swansea game with yourself, and then went home on the Saturday night on the bus. Then I was at home, got home roughly lunchtime Sunday, at home Sunday, went to work Monday, then Monday night took the bus back down to London.
Yeah, crazy, because we weren't, of course, we weren't sure that we were even getting in.
No. The Swansea one, I wasn't. I had tickets for the Man Utd game.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, remember, well, I suppose that's where the story starts. The ballot, we had the ballot. You had to apply for Arsenal, Swansea, and Man United. And I applied for them all because I had 2 memberships. And I never got Arsenal. I never got Swansea. Man United, I remember someone texted me that I was a member and said, "Oh, check your account. You've got an account history. It's there. I've got a Man U ticket." I thought, oh, I was at work and I remember getting 2 and I was buzzing. I've actually got 2 tickets. So I remember phoning you. You didn't have, so I said, you can have the other one. But you didn't use it in the end, but we'll go on to that. But that journey down on the Monday night on the bus, I think I checked about 50 times to make sure my membership cards were still in my wallet. I was constantly just, they're still there. Yeah, they're still there. Yeah, I was like a big child with those tickets, Gonzo. It was like I'd won the lottery or something.
Well, you probably had. You probably could have got a lot if you'd wanted to, bearing in mind how many people were outside, of course.
Yeah.
You probably could have done. Not that I ever saw anybody outside because I got in really early, but obviously the buzz was. I got into the ground really, really early. But everybody in the ground knew that there were loads of people outside.
Yeah. What do you remember about the day then? Tuesday morning. The game's on Tuesday, 10th of May, 2016. Tuesday morning. What do you remember? How does it start?
It started with me knowing I had to get up there early. I knew it was the last chance. I had ordered some extra bits for the camera and some without boring the pants off of everybody. I needed some more memory so as I could record a lot more of it. So I got down there. I knew it was going to be the last day of the stalls at Green Street. Not to the extent that it was, though, to be fair, because we still at that point were thinking a lot of these stalls were going to pop up at we didn't know it was going to be called the London Stadium then, but we thought they were coming with us. But I still thought this is the last chance. So I recorded, the mural, like the it's not just the Long Live the Boleyn. It was all the other artwork that was around, So I was filming that and filming Nathan's and Queen's. I thought I'd better get a lot of the Boleyn, the boozer, because I thought that's going to get pulled down. The hot dog vendors, and I just Olas, all the stuff, I just couldn't record enough of it because I was very mindful at the time, and I thought whilst I knew there would be a load of phone footage. I thought it's probably not that much going to be done of all the small things with a decent camera, which by that time we'd managed to get a Hammers chat. So that was very much my first hour or two before I went in the stadium was just recording the surrounding area.
What time did you get there to Upton Park area?
I think I got there about 10 in the morning because I don't think I've managed to get into the ground until 1 o'clock. Because I think something like the press entrance or something didn't open until then. Actually, no, I did. I blagged my way in before that. But a good couple of hours of filming what you thought was nothing. And the funny thing was, there was loads of film crews there. I was thinking, you're missing a trick here, So they're all getting set up, and obviously they're all doing their pieces about the final game at Upton Park, and filming, the turrets that were, and the stadium itself. But actually, I was thinking, no, you're missing a lot of stuff that's synonymous with everybody's match day routine, and that's really what I was getting. The walk from Upton Park Station down Green Street, which past Ken's and all the rest of it. So yeah, a good couple of hours of that, mate. And what about yourself?
Well, I go into Victoria. Normally, I get into Victoria about 6:30 in the morning if I get the bus, and it's a bit of a hassle because it's a bit too early. But then it works out for me now. But that one, there was a delay. I thought, well, come on. So I'm sitting there on my Google Maps on my phone. I was staying at Tom's that night, Tom Downs. I was staying at his, who's out in Benfleet. So he was messaging me because he took his daughter to get his daughter up for school and stuff. So he was saying to me, like, oh, you're still on time for 7 a.m. in Victoria, get out to mine for 8, and then we'll get going. And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, it's delayed. So I got to Benfleet about 8:30 in the morning. I was hoping to get there a bit earlier. So went to Tom's, got changed, and we went straight back on the train, and got back. So we had to go to Stratford first, which was quite almost fitting in a way. We started the day off in Stratford because Liam, Tom's friend Liam Connell, who's been on the boats a few times and stuff, he had to go to the reservation centre. So he was at the reservation centre. So me and Tom went to the Cow, and I always remember Tom went and got two pints, and the booming was like £11.40. You could see Tom already thinking, I'm not going to enjoy this next season, paying £11.40 for 2 pints. So as soon as we got it, all he did was complain. This is what we're going to have to put up with next season. Blimey. So the last time we came up to Park, he's already complaining about next season. Not even there yet. So once Liam was done, I head straight up to Park, and we got there about 11 or 12. And then I think we nipped into the Queen's for 1, because that was our sort of match day pub for the last season of Upton Park. And then I had to meet up with you about midday, and this ties in with your press thing because we had stuff to do for the club.
Yes,
it was really early, so we had to do. I guess you call it fan cams, right? You would call it fan cams. It's just a different sort of fan cam.
Yeah, pre-match fan cams, I guess.
Yeah. So we were in front of the main entrance, and we just spoke to a load of fans, and then we had to hand the footage to the club and they uploaded. I don't think I ever seen it, to be honest. I know they did upload it because I remember people were, oh, you're on the official website again. It was like the 3rd or 4th time. But I never actually watched the footage. I had a quick look before we recorded this to find it, and I can't find it. I find our fan cams after the Arsenal game when Carroll got his hat trick. I can find them. But I can't find the one from the last. I can't find the ones from the last day because we spoke to people and we said, oh, you got a ticket. And I said, nah. They said, I'm meant to be at work. And I thought, well, sitting on a video with the official website, not the wisest thing you can do. But it was heaving, wasn't it? Even at like noon for an evening kickoff, it was mobbed.
The shop and everything and all the surrounding area. And I've got to be honest, as much as me wanting to know I had to archive all this stuff, as you say, I didn't need 7 odd hours, but that was part of my reason for getting in there as quickly as I did, because I actually had work the next day. So I knew I couldn't go on not only couldn't go on a bender, I knew I didn't want to either, because there's no way I was going to get all this filming done. So I went in almost to get a little bit away from the crowd, but not at that point knowing the crowds were going to get as busy as they did, But it was, he said, oh, you can't go into the press bit yet because as you'd know, but they serve food. Anyone that knows the Moose knows they serve food in these press rooms and stuff like that. So I thought, I'll go in there. He said, oh, they're not serving food yet and all the rest of it. And I said to him, look, come on, we've already gone and done a bit for the club. I don't really. I just want to go and sit down and sort through my laptop. And I'll go on and go on there. So I went in and just had a cup of coffee and just sat down. And I thought, well, there was no. I said there was no one around. I thought, do you know what? I've got a badge here. I'm going to go and have a walk around the stadium. And I did. I took myself out. I was half the time waiting, to get me collar felt sort of thing. Oh, you don't have access to this area, but I'm going to have a walk around. So I did. I grabbed a cup of coffee and had to walk around the stadium with a camera, literally, some parts of it, because everyone's focusing on the big important bits. There's not no one in the East Stand and stuff like that. I did it to myself. And wow, this is, pretty emotional, really. Amazing as well,
Yeah, to be fair to you, you took some. Am I right in saying you took Slav in as well? Not Bilic, Slav.
I did do him a favour. Yeah. I was
Slav in and gave him a little treat.
yeah, I was pleased to do that. I don't think he wasn't expecting it.
No.
And it was an abuse of my press pass. Make no mistake about it. But this is somebody, I haven't got to sell it to you, but so someone that would travel over from Bratislava for every game and have been there every game more or less that season, home and away, and has become a friend. And remember the first time he came up to us when we were recording a video and stuff like that. So I said, I knew he was around, and I phoned him. I said, Slav, do you fancy coming in? And I got him in on the pretense of recording a video with him, which I did record a video, but the footage got lost. I never got to upload it. So we went and sat. I said, where's your seat? Where'd you sit? We went and sat in his seat, but I got him to walk pitch side and all the rest of it. And I hope he loved it. I hope he was buzzing like the first time we ever got to do that, because supporting a club and being able to have that sort of freedom and access and touch the pitch. It's silly, isn't it? It's a bit of grass. It's like no different to any other bit of grass in a park or a bit of grass at the front of your house or whatever. But to touch the hallowed Upton Park turf was quite special. So we went and sat in his seat and we conducted an interview. Oh look, there's your farewell Boleyn t-shirt. There you go, lovely. Done now. What are you going to do? But I should probably say at this point, I was very, very grateful for the person that did get me in there and get me the press pass, because it's just done me a wonderful, wonderful, huge favour. And I didn't take the mickey. I think it was right that Slav should be in there, and then Alan, when we brought Alan in, the same thing as well.
Yeah, I went a different way to you, because I went down and I remember saying to you, I just want to get this fan cams over and done with, because I am a wheel and a bender.
Yes.
It wasn't so much that. It was more, I just wanted to enjoy it as a fan. I thought we spend every match day doing stuff for Hammers Chat a lot of the time. And sometimes you do have to just not drink because you've got something coming up. It wasn't that long ago. I think it was actually I can't remember. It was a home game not that long ago.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the season, I couldn't drink because I was going to chat with the BBC for 2 minutes. Right. So I just had to, everyone who's in the pub drinking, I thought I could only have a couple because I'm not turning up smashed at my tree for the BBC, am I? So sometimes when you do Hammers Chat, you've just got to behave, or when everyone goes to the pub, you've got to walk away and go do something else. And this day, I said to you, let's get this camera up and down. I'll grab this person, that person. I was just grabbing random people and then interviewing them. Then it was a case of, right, we've got enough footage for the club now. So I said, right, off to the pub. So you went in with your press pass, and I went to the pub. So I went to the Boleyn and met Steph, who's one of my best friends and someone I met through West Ham as well. So met Steph at the same time you were in the ground. Went into the Boleyn pub and we didn't leave. To be honest, we got to the bar, got our drinks, and it was sort of like turned around, and it was so busy. We couldn't get away from the bar, but we were up against one of the pillars. So we weren't really in anyone's way. If anything, we were out the way. So we just stayed up against a pillar. But obviously, to stay there, we had to keep buying drinks. We almost had to justify being there. So we were constantly in the queue. Even if we had half a drink, we had to buy another one to justify standing at the bar. And then in the end, the barmaid took a liking to us. We got a couple of free drinks from the barmaid and stuff as well. So we just stayed there. And then it was just singing. Everyone was just singing songs. And it was just really nice to be. Time went like that, though. In that pub, time went like that. It was 1 o'clock, then all of a sudden, it was like, bloody hell. What's everyone standing on the seats for? And then you could just see the bus coming. So I never actually seen any of this stuff going on at the Man Utd bus, but you could see everyone looking out the window for the commotion and stuff. And then, it was time to leave the pub, essentially. I know you're thinking, well, you just jumped half the day, but that's all we did.
Yeah.
We stayed in the pub singing. It was good, though. It was really, really good. And it was quite...
Didn't Ian Bishop meet you in there or something?
Yeah, actually, that was before I met Steph. I went to the bank to get money out. Can't get money out up here. Scottish notes. People are getting funny about it, so I have to wait till I'm in England to get money out. So I went to that. Now, to give a bit of context to this, myself and Gonzo had filmed a couple of videos with Ian Bishop at Martin Noble's testimonial, which is obviously only a couple of months prior to all this. So we'd met him. So literally, as I turned around, he got out of the taxi. So I was like, wait, there he is. So I had a quick chat with Ian Bishop and that. Yeah, so he was proper. Well, he was up for a drink as well. It was just fantastic. So then I met Steph, went into the pub, stayed in the pub, and that was it. Did you do anything special until... I mean, what did you do? Because I remember, right, I got into the ground. I'm missing out a bit here, but when I got to the ground, I was expecting you to be in the seat, but you weren't there. What were you doing?
No, I'd been told by the person that had sort of got me in there. He said, "Look, I can't give you the access. You can't be here. There. What are you going to do with yourself? You want to film? I can't put you up in a press box. It's full. I said, look, just trust me. Leave me to it. I won't get in anyone's way. I'll do what I can do. And I'll just duck and dive." So we got in there, and funny enough, a lot of it blurs into what Charlie was talking about the other day, the Watford game, and so on and so forth. Because there was one time when we were up in the commentators' booth with Charlie as well. But I was up there. Basically, if you look at the footage, in fact, we'll try and edit this in here. That footage, when people used to stand on the garages behind the East Stand. So I was up there filming a bit of that, filming the build-up, filming people walking in and stuff like that, which I thought were quite archived shots, particularly with quite emotive shots, particularly with the flats behind and all that sort of business. I've got to be honest with you, it was one of the weirdest days of my life, right? I'm stood in there. I get into the press room. All right, by this time, they're serving up some grub. Now it's getting really feisty outside, right? And people, you're hearing this thing that it's getting really, really, I don't mean feisty, but it's getting busy, really busy outside. So people are starting to come in and say, crikey, have you seen what it's like in there? Spencer Owen came in, who I'd met 2 or 3 times before. He came in and said, "Hello, mate, how you doing?" And he just, funny enough, he'd written an article in the programme for the last day there, Spencer FC, and we had a chat, which was nice, and but as I'd spoken to him before, I turned around, Russell Brand was right there. I thought, well, this is weird, isn't it, really? Do you know what I mean? He just said, "Yeah, all right, mate," and all right, mate, what else do you say? And then we went up and it was pie and chips, and we were sat round on this table, and I'd sat down at the table. Sat next to me was Adrian Durham, right, who was a lot shorter, a lot fatter than I thought he would be, and he had a little sort of a cap on, like a flat cap, and he didn't say a word, right. And then there was, I think he's a Man United, ex-Man United, Paddy Crelland. I think his name was Paddy Crelland. He was sat there on this table. Chris Kamara was sort of mucking around, as I seem to remember it, unless that was another game entirely. But sat on the table there was Alan Kirbishley. So it was me, ridiculous, right? Me, Adrian Durham, Paddy Crelland, and Alan Kirbishley sat on this table eating pie and chips. I'm thinking, well, this is bizarre, isn't it? It's a bizarre. Anyway, so I thought, it was difficult to talk to Adrian Durham because he really did have his cap. It was almost like he didn't want to be recognised. I think maybe he insulted so many people on his radio show. I don't know. Anyway, Paddy Crelland, because I wasn't even sure who he was. So I was asking people, who's that? I'm still not entirely sure who Paddy Crelland is. But a famous footballer, no doubt, and a Man United legend, Alan Kirbishley. I know. Now, the Alan Kirbishley that we see interviews like they all interview, say barely nothing. If you were to watch Alan Kirbishley in a post-match interview, says nothing, gives nothing away, almost acts like he doesn't like the interviewer at all. Yeah. I never in my mind thought of Alan Kirbishley as a funny geezer and a cheeky chappy, right? But he was funny, he was lively, and I knew he's got lots of brothers, but I knew his brother because his brother was a manager at a Who for a little, so a long story. But anyway, I'd met his brother a few times. And so anyway, I started talking to him. We weren't really talking about football, so we were talking about music. We were talking about the Who, basically. And I got on with him really well. I thought, I can't believe this. This is the dour, straight guy. And then Trevor Sinclair walked in, and he, clearly they knew each other, and they started having a joke. And he was like the life. I thought, Alan Carrick's the life and soul of the party. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, that was quite weird. And then I went outside to see if I could get some interviews.
Then you had to. Well, you got 1 or 2 interviews.
I got an interview. Jamie Redknapp. Now the weird thing about Jamie Redknapp is we moved from Ilford down to Dorset when I was 13, 14. But Jamie Redknapp was in my year. So Harry was manager of Bournemouth. And I knew some people that Jamie knew because we were the same age, even though he was in a different school when he was coming through. My mate Pete, who's a juggler, him and Jamie had the same manager. So one of my best mates. So I ended up, when I moved back to London, we got a flat together. So I knew Jamie's manager very well. We had barbecues. I was meant to actually go training with the West Ham squad, believe it or not, because Brian, who was the agent, had tried to set it up, but Harry got sacked. I was going to, believe it or not, I was going to go training with the West Ham squad, and Harry got freaking sacked. I couldn't believe it. I was gutted. Anyway, so I saw Jamie, nice guy, and I went, Jamie, can I have an interview, please? There'll be a lot of stories like this. I am technically quite useless. Anyway, so I had a chat with him, and he went, we had a little chat about Bournemouth and that sort of thing. I said, I know Pete and I know Brian. Oh, yeah, cool. And he was there doing his Sky stuff because that Dave Jones who presents it. Yeah. Dave Jones was there in the background. He really wanted Jamie to hurry up, and Jamie was good as going. No. I said, do you want to do a little interview? He said, yeah, what are you doing it for? And told him. He went, yeah, of course, mate. Record it all. Alan was there, Avit, who I'd asked in to come and help me. Who I hope again had a lovely day. Oh, the sound. I didn't do the sound, Geo. The mic wasn't pushed in. I was gutted. I was really gutted. And you know what it's like, because you've interviewed people and you can't ask again. Particularly not a busy day like that.
You get one shot.
Yeah, and I couldn't do it again. I'd mucked up that. Of course, I'd famously mucked up the McAvenny interview a couple of years before that.
That was when we had like 500 subs as well. That was a proper big scoop for us at the time.
He was slagging off Allardyce. I don't mean Jamie Redknapp. I mean McAvenny. Oh, he hated Big Sam. He was slagging him right off.
Apart from Jack and Dave Sullivan, the sons. He was probably the first famous West Ham person's mobile number to get on my phone. Still there.
You gave it to me. You went, you should do this. He's like one of your idols. Oh, bless you. I'll muck that up and all, don't I?
You botched. He only lives down the road from me. It's all right. I'll just.
But I'll tell you what. You'll be getting out of a bender then, I reckon, if you go out with a.
Well, I've certainly heard a few stories, not from his West Ham days, from his Celtic days. I've certainly heard a few stories about him up here. Because when I went training, I was down training in Glasgow one day, and we went out to Ayr. A couple of people lived in Ayr. We were in a pub in Ayr, and they were basically saying to me, "Oh yeah, Frank McAvenny used to come in this place." I was looking around like, "Really?" Yeah, and then he told me a few stories around the bloody hell. Like, crikey. He sounds like a good laugh if you're Frank McAvenny's way inclined. But yeah, so then you found a little corner in between the East Stand and the Bobby Moore lower. That was your corner for the night.
It was. The footage I've got.
Can we edit something now?
Such a lovely little spot, and I just captured so many emotions. I think so many songs. I look at it, Geo, and I see the trust between the stewards and the fans. How the fans understood that it was their last time. The noise that was made, and I put this footage up at different points, and I often want someone to see themselves. Do you know what I mean? And say, wait, that's me.
Everyone wants to see themselves. Everyone wants
Yeah.
to see themselves. I mean, if you're sitting the Bobby Moore lower, you're in great luck for this video. aren't you?
Absolutely. But I want them to tell us, oh, that's me, 3 rows back to the, 4 to the left or whatever. Just got some great footage of it, Geo, and I got swept up. Hey, look, how much attention did I pay to the game? Not a lot. I've got to be honest with you. But I knew and I felt what I was doing was important. And I'm not suggesting, how lovely I am and what massive sacrifice I made. I loved doing, but I was enjoying myself. I was in my element. I was soaking up, soaking up what was going on.
We got out the Boleyn, the streets were still mobbed, but we checked the time, and whatever time it was, 7 o'clock or something, and we thought, oh, we better start making our way down. And I was at Simside Steph, she was in her season ticket seeing the chicken run, and I was in the Bob Moore upper. So we went around. I remember jumping on the Rib Man, and as people may know, Rib Man is an amputee, so he's perhaps not the right person to jump on. So I almost knocked him off his leg and carried on down the street. But the whole time, me and Steph were just stumped. We were actually all right until we opened the door and got the oxygen. Then you just turn into like something you don't recognise. It's almost like the Gremlins, isn't it? You see a bit of sunlight.
Oh yeah.
So we got a bit of oxygen, and us and Jesus, so we're going down the street. It's just absolutely ram. We're thinking this is just madness. The amount of people, and we're like kickoffs just round the corner, and this place is. Either loads of people don't have a ticket, which was the case, but also those that do have a ticket just don't want to go in. Like, it was street party time outside that pub. Everybody was just having a really good time. Got down to the Bobby Moore, then I remember me and Steph stayed outside Bobby Moore and spoke for a little bit, and it was almost like we had a moment of just taking it in, that this is the last time ever you're going to hear the click, click, clunk. Because that is such a thing, isn't it? It's just... If someone says to me, list your top 5 things you remember about Upton Park, that would be in there. Do you know when you put your ticket in, you get dunk? That noise, that's in my... I can hear it. I can hear it as I speak. I can still remember it. So
I've got footage of that, actually.
Yeah, but you just thought, like, this is the last time we're ever going to... But then we started thinking, we are absolutely steaming. This is the biggest game in our history we're going to experience unless West Ham win a cup. And we're absolutely mortal for it. You can remember this, so we thought, crikey. So we went our own ways. I remember going in, I remember ringing Charlie, and Charlie said to me, the game's moved back, it's delayed. And I remember, yeah, whatever. I remember going up and going to get another drink. And they were like, oh, we're sold out, there's no beer. I was like, what the hell? And this is where it gets a little bit uncanny. I bump into Liam from the start of the video. I bump into him. I don't even text him or nothing. There he is. So, oh, okay. I remember going to find my seat because it was just a random seat. I didn't have a season ticket, so I was like, I better go find my seat. All the way up to the back of the Bob Moore upper, expecting you to be there. You weren't there. And I thought, all right, okay. So I put my t-shirt on, my flashing wristband. Remember that flashing wristband we got? I put that on and everything. So I spoke to Charlie again. I said, Charlie, the game's delayed. And Charlie was like, I've literally just told you. I was like, fucking knows. I cannot remember speaking to you. So I went back down to the concourse, and Liam come back down, and we were couldn't get a drink, so I had to have like a soft drink. So we're there for a while. Then I remember large parts of the game. As the game went on, I started to sober up a little bit, and then when we made it 1-0, at one point I thought I was going to come off the upper tier. Like honestly, it was just mayhem. The place was shaking. Everybody was just going mental. There was just people jumping on each other. I had about 2 people on me, and I was on top of 2 people. Never seen these guys in my life. Will never see them in my life again. But the place was just bonkers when it went 1-0 up, and I don't know. It was just the noise though from where you must have been. The noise must have hit you from 4 directions, essentially.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like I'd never seen it before. There was so much emotion. It's funny, just going back to what you were saying about the turnstiles. When I got in there, I actually got inside and set a camera up and turned it on the turnstiles. And there's one particular one where I think it's a father and son. I don't know. I didn't speak to them, but they come in, synchronized stadium entry. And I think I'd have to see the footage again, but I'll never forget the geezer goes,
yeah, I remember that,
and puts his ticket in, and no words were necessary. It was a case of him walking up. I don't have to be a mind reader. I'll tell you what his thoughts were. His thoughts of walking up, nervous. This is the last time I'm going to do this. Ticket goes in, and he walks through, and he was taking it all in. I thought, that's the guy. That's the guy. That if he watches this, I'd love him to, but because that was a moment for me, and I thought it was his moment, but I got a little insight into it, and you know, you're indicative of every fan here, and when you talk about the noise, everyone had just made so much of it. Everybody was fully aware it was their last time. I do wonder, because there were various polls, and about whether we should move on, and I think we all will agree we were all expecting something different to what we got. But even then, I do wonder if you'd have polled everybody halfway through that night or at the end of that night or whatever. I think you'd have a very, very. I bet most people would turn around and say, "We want to stay," because it was really something special, Geo. On that,
the noise was just incredible. Your hairs were standing up right through the whole night, even when we were getting beat 2-1. The noise just kept going. It was just like. We were an army that night, the fans. You know, you speak about the 12 man. We were more than 12 man. We were 12 men. You know, the bubbles at the start. Everyone just knew. Everyone there was either a season ticket holder, might have paid over the odds for a ticket, or was like me, was very lucky to get a ticket. And you knew, regardless of how you got in that ground, you knew you were lucky to be in that ground. You knew that this was a special moment. You knew, you just witnessed it. There was tens of thousands of fans on the streets outside who would give anything to get in, but they couldn't get in. There just wasn't enough room. So you were in there, and you did feel like this was special. Even before kickoff, you thought this is going to be special. Everybody was in their clad in blue. You know, when you see the footage, everyone's in their clad in blue stripes. They've all got the t-shirts on. It's just what a night. I mean, we went 2-1 down. It almost didn't feel like we were getting beat 2-1. There was there was none of that. It was almost like we'd seen it all season though. We were almost like the comeback kings of the Premier League that season. So when we went 2-1 down, it was almost like, do you really think you're going to win this though, Man United? De Gea started acting up.
Yeah. Oh, I got some crowd noise.
That was one of my favorite. That was one of my favorite moments because it's sometimes even in the last season at Upton Park, that intimidation of an opponent's gone from Premier League in general. There's not You don't really get that intimidation. But that night, I'll tell you something. David De Gea. Do you know our third goal? David De Gea saves that any other night.
Yeah.
I'm convinced. His arm just turns into T-Rex and Weetabix at the same time. It does. It's just like, oh, I can't catch it. It's gone in the net. Oh, well. But that night, I swear, David De Gea turned around to the Bobby Moore stand and thought, we're here to piss on your parade after you've been launching stuff out our bus. And what he got back, I don't think he was expecting, because he almost didn't come in his box. If you watch the game back, David De Gea almost tries to get away from the Bobby Moore stand as much as possible. So whenever Man U's forward, he's really far outside his 18-yarder. Now, I know people can say that's a normal thing for a keeper. I'm telling you, he would take an extra 5 strides just to get away from that crowd, because there was, when we made it, was it 2-2 or was it 3-2, and someone ran on the pitch and ran up to him. They didn't hit him or anything. They just ran up and just celebrated on his face. It was like, the intimidation he got here was just mental. I've never experienced it since, and it's been a long time before that I've seen one player, and I mean a player with no affiliation to the club. So you're not allowed to include Paul Ince, Frank Lampard. You're not allowed to include people that have done the dirty on your club. I'm talking, I mean, people don't even hate De Gea. It's just that one night he done something stupid. He turned around and mocked the fans, and what he got back, whoa, that was just priceless.
It was really intense, and I was right there. You know, I was right, but I was by the corner flag.
Yeah.
And oh, I mean, I was thinking, oh well, I can't use this audio. Well, obviously we not for some of the things. It wasn't ever going to be the end slate on a video, put it that way. But he really was, and the crowd were right on him. And I look, we've all been to football. And you go to football, and there's certain people that make noise. There's certain people that are more quiet. There's certain people that sing the first few bars of a song. There's some people that will clap, and so on and so forth. This time, everyone was singing.
And
everyone was, and on their feet, yeah,
and on their feet,
in full voice, and certainly, certainly at Bobby Moore lower and upper, probably. Oh my word, they were all singing. They were all reminding David De Gea of what he was and what nationality he was in the lyrics of the song. Was a real feature of the evening. As was people trying to get in and watching from the top. And there is a story. We do know a story of somebody that snuck in that night, who will remain nameless, but I'm sure he won't mind telling the story, as long as we don't mention his or her name. And he got him or she. I think we can leave the she. You know, it's a geezer with a steward's jacket. So look, like it was a high vis jacket, not a vest, but a high vis jacket. Looked like a steward. Got in there, and then went and hid in the toilets. I might have this wrong, but it was for, I've got it in my mind for 4 hours. For 4 hours, so in the cubicle, lock the door for 4 hours, right? Anyway, he's told me the story a few times, and then actually I went past the footage, and he said where he went and stood, and I went and looked at some of the old footage where I'm just panning past the crowd. And he's there when everyone else is sort of really happy and moving towards their seats. Because there was one point I put the camera on a stand for about an hour. And I saw him walk down. I walked down. And he put his hands in his pockets. He was doing this. Just looking around. Anytime there was any noise, he would just look the most shifty, nervous person. It was just funny. I found him on the thing. And I actually shared. I shared the footage with him and went, here we go. I said, do you remember that story? So he said, yeah. I said, I think I found some footage. Not that I disbelieved him. You know, so funny. He looked so shifty. There were people where the scaffold was, and you know where you could see the police, where the garages were. There were people climbing, shimmying up there, getting over there. I'd love to know how many people snuck into the grounds that night. Not that we'll ever know. Because the whole purpose of a sneak is that nobody finds out about it. But oh, wonderful.
We don't really need to talk about the game as such. 2-2, but 3-2. I've never experienced a goal like that before. Winston Reid's ball. When it went in, I never witnessed a celebration, because as soon as that goal was in, it was just. I wouldn't be surprised if the ground physically shook after when we made it 3-2. Everybody just moved. I swear the back 10 rows of the upper were empty at 3-2. Everybody was down at the front somewhere, just piling on top of each other. It was just, I don't know. And as soon as you're standing there, and you're almost trembling, but as Man Utd, you're almost thinking, we're actually winning 3-2 here. Tears in your eyes, you're trembling, you're thinking, you're checking time, you're thinking, it's almost like a cup final scenario now. You're now thinking, we need to hang on for this. This is just perfect. I'm almost convinced the crowd sucked that ball into the net, that third goal. Every time I watch it, though, I just think, how has he not saved that? It's not the most powerful header in the world. It's not accurate. It's at the middle of the goal to an extent. And you just think, how has he not done it? It could be fate, but I swear the crowd sucked it in. The crowd has got to De Gea's head, whatever. And you know, when the commentators like it's meant to be, you do just sometimes look back and think, maybe it was that night. Maybe it was just meant to be. But what a... When that final whistle went as well, you would have thought, you were almost expecting them to bring out a cup, just as a... Because that night was just unbelievable. The emotions you went through. But I never went through, even at 2-1 down, I never had a feeling of potential disappointment on the horizon. You just knew. You just knew we were going to go on and steal it for some reason. I don't know why. I was always calm in regards to the win.
Yeah, I think I'm more a pessimist than you. I thought, they're ruining our party, and all that sort of thing. I can't believe it. And but it was so many highs and lows in that game. It was such an eventful game that you did always feel that there was going to be something in it. And you look at it and you think, actually, they're I bet at the end of that, Man United were probably thinking, thank goodness we don't have to come here again. I bet they were. It was such a massive advantage that we had by being there, which we gave up. But it was fitting, and it was right that it would be so. And there were so many things that were right. It was right that it was right that somebody that has been a good servant to us, and Winston Reid scored that goal. It was right that that Bilic, regardless of what you think about how he left for Everton, all the rest of it, he understands West Ham. And he understands West Ham fans. I think that was really right as well.
We played that last year as well
with Payet, the best player that we've had in years. Absolutely, we had a world-class player that season. There was no doubt about it. Yeah, it was all very. It was very fitting, very apt, and a crazy night.
It was just beautiful. I'm almost getting emotional talking about it. Actually, it was just.
I'm glad you suggested the video. Actually, yeah.
It was just genuinely beautiful. I mean, it doesn't end there. There's another couple of things, but that night was just. I'll never ever forget it. I walked away. I sobered up enough during the game to remember everything, and I'm glad I done, because it was just such a night. And you woke up the next day, you woke up 2 days later, you woke up 3 days later, and you're thinking, did that actually happen? I was honestly couldn't believe everything that happened. Everything just went perfect for West Ham fans that night. It really was just a beautiful, beautiful game of football. It helped that I had us to win 3-2, 28-1. It's in the match preview from back then. If you don't believe me, go back to May 2016 on the channel. I predict 3-2 because I think we had a couple of 3-2s prior to that. I think 3-2 wins, and we got that one as well at 28-1. So they paid for my trip, if you like, which was good. But that night it was just. I remember going out. Do you know something? Do you know what I didn't like? Actually, I'll be honest here. I didn't like the ceremony.
No.
I thought the ceremony was it was too long. I thought it was boring. And I went down to Liam. I knew where Liam's seat was. So when the final whistle went, I went and found Liam. And I was at Liam's seat because he was in the very front row of the upper tier. So I thought, oh, well, there's stuff going on. I went the best views. And luckily, it was like 2 seats along from the aisle. So it was in no one's way. But the cabs coming out, you're just a bit on with it kind of thing. The speeches were all right, and then they were trying to interview legends in the crowd, and Bianca since said afterwards that they'd all fucked off to the bar, and she was like, whoa, hang on a minute, I need to speak to a couple of you, and the players were away, and then they got the Cockney rejects out, and I just thought, nah, it should have ended with the fans. I think they'd been better off saying, listen, let's do our speeches. Once we've done that, just come on the fucking pitch. Maybe not said that, but just said, we'll do our speeches and do what you want. I do think the thing that was missing from that night was the fans on the pitch at the end singing Bubbles together. I think that was what there almost wasn't the fans singing Bubbles at the very end of the match. It was there at the end of the game in between the ceremony, and then the ceremony come in, and when Courtney Rejects come in, by the end of the ceremony, I felt like a lot of people were traipsing out a bit bored. Actually, I think they were looking at the time because the game had been delayed already. The ceremony was taking really long, so I think they were almost slinking out. But I just didn't think it was. I thought the match was fitting, but I didn't think the ceremony was. I think they almost tried too hard, the club. They tried to put on everything, the big fireworks and all that. And they almost did too much and overkilled it. I think actually sometimes less is more. I think this would have been the right one. Get Noble on the pitch because his speech was good. I know it's a bit of a meme now. We're no longer. I know it's a bit of a meme, but at the time, I do think he was correct. I do think Noble was right, and I believed him that night. We just were a way to finish 7th in the league. We just witnessed beautiful football all season. Dimitri Payet and the team. I was also thinking, bloody hell, we're on to something here. We're away to move to the stadium with twice the crowd almost. I was thinking, oh, all right. So the speech would have been done. Then I think I would have just let the fans on, almost ripped the thing down if you want. Just it's your ground, your club, your night. And I feel like it was almost like that was taken away from us. And maybe we talk about the match being fitting for West Ham. I think the ceremony was almost fitting for what is now the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean it is a funny one. It is a funny one because I really enjoyed the lap of honour.
Yes.
As soon as it finished, I climbed the scaffolding. I'll put that in now. I climbed the scaffolding, got an elevated position, and I was filming the players going round. I remember Noble and Andy Carroll in particular. Sacco had his selfie stick. Was filming himself, which was fine. There was lots of other things to film. But anyway, he was filming himself. And watching them go round and watching the interaction between the fans. And then when they got round to the East Stand, and there were a couple of flares. I know flares are very continental, and I normally don't like them, but they did sort of add to the mood, the smokiness. And there was one guy down the front who climbed down. He had his arms open like that, and the players were going through. And I'd say it was a real moment. That was the moment between the fans and the players in the lap of honour before the razzmatazz started. But there'd actually been something. See, the thing is, you didn't know all this, but inside the ground, everyone was very nervous because Billy Bonds was a big part of that finale. And what had happened was, because of all the ruckus that had happened with the fans and the Man United coach, Billy Bonds' car, and I think he was with his daughter, or he's either with his daughter or his granddaughter, and he was right behind that. And he thought, no, I don't want any part of this. So he turns around and went home. That filtered through into the thingy. I can't remember who it was his daughter, his granddaughter, somebody, but he didn't have a phone. He didn't have a mobile phone, Bill, which was that's Billy Bonds. But Billy Bonds wouldn't have a mobile phone, or whatever. Or he didn't know how to use it, or whatever the case may be. But he very much phoned through and said he's not going to do it. So there was a massive hurried reaction to try and rearrange at least his part in the finale there. But yeah, there was certainly a lot of panic going on.
The one thing I do like was the video with Bobby in it.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah,
I did like that. Just because I'm almost forgetting parts of it. It was the cabs I didn't like the most, to be honest. I just found it very long. And then look, bless him. I thought he was fantastic for us. But Sebastian Shem will come out, and you thought, well, I know he's Hammer of the Year, and the point was to bring out Hammer of the Years. But I thought he had one good season. This is a ground. This isn't a tribute to the last 10 years or something. This is a tribute to Upton Park, and I just thought it was a bit stale. But do you know the funny thing with that Bobby Moore footage is? Do you know at the end when he flicks the light switch, he's actually turning it on?
I didn't really give it.
Yeah, it's
not if I've wired it, he isn't, because in which case the switch is upside down.
Yeah. The funny thing is when he does it, he's actually switching the lights on. That's what people who know Upton Park really I've said. If the historians of West Ham, if you like, have come out and said actually the club messed that up. Unfortunately, he's actually turned the light on, which is really It's not really important, but little details like that, you think, oh, all that hard work to get this hologram. Remember at one point they were trying to get the ghost of Bobby Moore in the middle of the pitch. Remember the rumours? They were trying to get a hologram in the middle of the pitch and stuff, and you just thought, crikey. I mean, the Bobby Moore being part of it was nice, and it's to call that. They were trying to get every interview he's ever done, all the audio of Bobby speaking, and pull it all together and see if they could make some sort of speech out of what using Bobby's actual voice. And I thought stuff like that I thought was top class, but I just thought it was a bit overkill. But then it was home time. My journey doesn't stop here, by the way. I've still got a little bit more after this. Yeah, you forgot about one thing. So I was staying at Tom's. So I had to meet Tom outside the ground because Tom was in the East Stand because he had his season ticket. So I went down with Liam because Liam lived near Tom. So I met Steph quickly, just said goodnight to her, then met Tom. We noticed the time. We thought we were going to miss the last train here. So we had to run back to Plastow. We also went on our way. We saw 3 lads. Sir Trevor Brooking stand, bored. Carry the club were auctioning it off at this point. Remember we had that big one? So there was that joke. I hope someone's going to tell the club so no one buys it for a couple of £100. But yeah, 3 of them running along. All the fans were applauding them, saying, "Go on, lads!" You know, they're trying to cram into the tube with it as well. You know, someone somewhere has got this massive Sir Trevor Brooking stand board. I'm telling you, it was about 12 foot long. It was huge, but they obviously ripped off somehow, and off they went. So we'll go back to Tom's. We made a train and stuff, and then the next day, before I flew home, I went to Upton Park to get. To be honest with you, I wanted a program. I didn't have a program. I just went there, went to the pub. So I thought, damn. So I went down to the club shop, took a couple of photos myself. This person comes up, to support West Ham. I was like, yeah. She's like, I'm from Sky Sports News, come and interview you. I was like, oh, all right. Now, I know people are like, what's the problem with that? This is our first year of doing YouTube. The last year Upton Park was our first year doing YouTube. We weren't even a year old on YouTube at this point. We were 8 months old or something. So I was a bit like, okay. Bit tired from the night before and that. So, but she was trying to paint West Ham fans out to be hooligans because of what happened to the Man Utd coach. So I was very much like, nah. She was like, don't see a problem with it. I'm like, nah, not really. Plus, you can't hooligans West Ham fans. I could see her getting a bit pissed off that I would not say that West Ham fans are hooligans. So I didn't make it. I think I might have got a 3-second clip on Sky Sports News. I should interview for about 10 minutes. So I got that, went home. But that'll be sent on. Is there anything you regret? Is there anything you look back now and think, I wish I'd done that differently, or I wish I didn't do this, or I wish I did do that?
Yeah. There's one massive, absolute massive regret, which is when the fireworks started going off and all the rest of it. I thought, yeah, that's me done. And as you know, it was going to take me 3 odd hours to get home. But I've got work tomorrow and all the rest of it. And I could have stayed there until been the last person out of there, but I've been there since the early hours of the morning. I thought I'd savoured so much, you know. I thought I've got it. I need to get back now. And I thought otherwise I've got no chance. And I got back. I've got footage of it, me walking through and everyone's outside. I thought I've got to get on this train now. Otherwise I ain't getting home, you know. So I got on. And wherever the train, where's the train dip underground? Is it just after West Ham or just after Canning Town? Where it goes, because it's above ground and it goes underground. And just as it's, I don't know, 30 seconds before it's gone underground, my phone, beep, 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 beep. Well, you know, loads. You know, more than just the missus saying, hope you had a nice time or anything like that. Loads. I mean, ridiculous. Got to the end. Got out on the main station, and then got up the top. It might even waited until I got to Waterloo or something like that. It was something like 60, 70 messages on my phone. You know, what's gone on here? And it took me a little while, and everyone said, just seen you on Sky. And of course, I'd been on the big screen when they were talking about, before they introduced the cameo. I didn't know I was going to feature on it at all. And it meant as a surprise. And to be honest with you, I fibbed about it for a little while because the person that organised it, I didn't want them to feel bad, right? And it was such an honour for them to do it. I thought, oh my goodness, do you know what I mean? I actually left. I didn't see man. I was on the big screen. on the final ceremony talking about Paolo Di Canio's goal. But apparently, I thought we were just doing it for the website. But
Well,
they'd actually put it in.
I remember that person asking me the same question, and he basically asked a very straightforward question: "What are you doing? You can't just go." And I wasn't. So I said, "No, I wish I blagged it now." I wish I
Well,
said, yeah. But nah, but at the same time, I wasn't. So I just said, nah, that wasn't there. But I thought it was for the same purposes as what you were thinking, which is just something for the YouTube channel at some point about Di Canio.
so I had no idea about this at all. I thought, oh, right, okay. And then, of course, everybody was saying, you've been on telly, because, of course, it was on Sky. You've been on Sky, and it was a real funny one, because even the next day, so I'm going to work, the rest of it, people would like to say, because that was a big game, you know what I mean? So even people that don't massively follow football or don't follow West Ham, so it's not like West Ham, West Ham fans that follow it. It was everybody. So going down to Plumbers Merch, you were on telly last night. I saw you on telly last night, and yeah, my regret is I guess I didn't stay till the end to watch myself on a big screen, however egotistical that might sound. But
it's a memory, isn't it?
Yeah,
like it's a perfectly acceptable regret.
Yes, yeah. But I have seen it, and I appreciate it almost, more than almost anything. It's the same person that got me in to get that footage that day. It was the same person that allowed my father and my son to run along pitch side of the club that they both support, and done an awful lot. And I did. I thought, I felt a bit, but I felt so bad. I thought, I don't want to tell him. I was like, oh, it's brilliant. I can't believe you've done that. But I don't know if he still watches our stuff, but he's probably watching this now. But I do appreciate it hugely. And I think that's my regret. The other regret about not watching as much of the game, nah, not really. That was good. It was, as everybody's heard, I had my own experiences for the day, and I really enjoyed them. And I think there's nothing wrong in life with people watching. And I spent that day people watching the West Ham fans and enjoying, it was wonderful. Really, really, really wonderful. And I'm really pleased to decide to do this video. Actually, it's brilliant.
Yeah, I wouldn't have drank so much. In all honesty, I wouldn't have drank so much. I think I would have also tried to, prior to the game, I would have tried to have swapped my ticket with someone in the East Stand, so I could have been with Steph and Tom rather than just by myself. Sure. Not that that's a big thing, but it would have been nicer. I definitely left too early, but I had to. My phone died. That's another thing that I suppose is important for content. My phone was dead, because I got to London like 7 a.m. or whatever, so my phone had to stop charging from 7 a.m. I went to Tom, went back, then I had to meet up with you, meet with Steph. So constantly your phone's going. So by the time the game was finished, my phone was almost away to die before I went in. So did I meet Tom outside? I don't think I did meet Tom outside the Bobby Moore before I went in. But basically we arranged to meet right there after the game, be here, and then we're going. So I had to get out, and I was with Liam. So Liam's like, "Come on, even if you miss Tom, it's fine. I'll take you home. I know where he lives. I live there." But I wish I stayed longer. I wish I'd just sat down. Do you know, once the razzmatazz was over, the fireworks were done and all that, once everything was finished and everyone's off the pitch and they would basically turn the lights off, I wish I just sat down, just for 5 minutes by myself. A couple of deep breaths, because it's almost like, do you know, people say unfinished business? It's almost like unfinished emotion, if that makes sense. I almost feel like I've still got like an emotional time. I've not said goodbye to it yet. That 4 years on, it almost feels like I didn't say goodbye to it properly. It's almost like I'm still grieving for a loved one because I didn't go to their funeral. It's just that. I know it's probably a really coarse thing to say, but it does feel like that. It almost feels like I rushed it, like I didn't take it all in and I didn't do myself justice. Because when you're there, you get lost up in the moment very easily, and it's not until hindsight. I mean, that's why I went back the next day, I didn't get in. I wish even then, actually, I wish I did just message one or two people from the club. Because I actually messaged someone in the morning and said, "Do you have any programs?" He says, "Oh, no, but I can try to get you one." I said, "Thank you." And then the club ended up releasing them another batch separately. But I just wish, he said that, I wish I replied and said, "Do you mind if you just let me in for 5 minutes, just by myself?" Yeah, he might have done. He might have said, "Yeah,
he might have done."
Yeah, but I didn't ask. I didn't want to be intrusive, and I just wish not just tonight, but more. I wish I took more advantage of our media passes when we had them. We only had them for a handful of games. I wish I'd done more, but because I'm not the techie guy, I don't have a camera. I don't have a mic. All I've got is, I stand and speak. I have to think up questions for people. So that when we're there, I'm not thinking about the angles or the footage or anything. I'm just thinking of who can I grab and what am I going to ask him and stuff. What would make good viewing? And I wish I'd done more personally. But as for the day itself, I don't wish I'd done more media stuff. I'm glad I spent it, with people. But at the end of the day, I got to spend it with yourself, Tom, Steph. I wish Charlie was there. You know, if this was today, we had our last game Upton Park today, where we are with Hammer's Chat, we would get Charlie a ticket.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Whether it's through a viewer or we just have to break our bank personally to get Charlie there. And I just wish Charlie was with us that day, because he was at home and he did the review with young Tom, so it helped us to an extent. But back then, I was almost so obsessed with Charlie and young Tom doing the review to get the views, where actually I wish I said to Charlie, don't bother with the review. Just come along to even if you don't have a ticket, just come along. Come to the pub, even if you don't drink. Just come with us. Come, experience everything. That was, I suppose, my only regret really. No souvenirs. I've got nothing. I've got this T-shirt, but I bought it for like painting and stuff. because it's like, to be honest with you, I don't like the design. Do you know the design of the gates within the I wasn't overly fussed, and I had a blue one instead of a claret one. If it was a claret one I got, I might be a bit more, because it's light blue and it's writing's white, you can't really see it, and it's too big for me. So I can't wear it. So I needed an old T-shirt one day, and I went in, and I don't really have old T-shirts. I took that thing out, and I thought, well, I'll just wear this. So over the years, I've still got it, but it's not nice. I don't have the programme from the last day. The club did release a batch, but I never bothered my arse buying one. That's a big regret. Do you know your ticket stub? As I had a membership, I didn't get a ticket stub, but you could phone the club up and get them to send you one for free. The actual ticket. Didn't bother my arse doing that. Massive regret. So I just wish I got a programme, kept my shirt clean, and got a ticket stub, so I would have been able to get it framed or something. So my lack of souvenirs is a bit of a pain in the butt, but the memories I made that day was just unbelievable. Feelings I've never experienced at football before, and I don't think I'll ever experience them again, Gonzo, unless we get to a cup final. And even if we do get to a cup final, I'm win it, I'm not sure it's going to replicate what I felt that night at Upton Park, because it was just special. It really, really was. I'm privileged to be there, and I'm getting emotional again. I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah, well, why not? If you can't, get a little bit emotional about that, then it has been, and it was a.
I'm not even an emotional person, as you know. I'm not a very emotional person. I'm quite cold-hearted. I don't know. I've got a brick wall, if you like. So I keep people at arm's length, for an example, and I'm not a very emotional person. When it comes to that night, there's something in me that gets me every time. My heart flutters a little bit.
Yeah, I think you'd be with everybody. I think one of the other regrets, not from that night, and just when you were talking about memorabilia, then I think why it rankled me, why I went so potty as I did when that film came out and they blew it up. Right, the reason I went a bit OTT with my film review was because I look at it now and I love the story of the fellas running off with a sign, because that was theirs. Oh, it was all of ours, but it wasn't really the club's to auction off.
No.
Because of years of history and a museum and all of that stuff, right? And I know someone that's got a few bits as well, but it wasn't really theirs. And when I think about what happened with the seats, they had to remain intact, a lot of them in place, so as they could make that film and make that final shot of it being blown up, because they didn't want to blow something up that looked like it had already been ransacked. And I just think there's so much of that place, be it a bolt, a seat, a brick, a bit of the roof. I mean, the club don't understand what us football fans are like, honestly, if I had a bit of barbed wire from Upton Park, I'd run it across there. We'd all do something. Do you know what I mean? Whatever it might have been, the thing from the toilets. I don't know. Whatever. I don't mean the urinal, by the way. I'm talking about the plaque on the. I'd probably have no, actually, you can't. I couldn't, because David Gold's had them all. But
yeah, he's missing them.
He does. And that's the thing. I think there was enough there to give everybody something.
That's why I don't let fans on the pitch at the end. It's your ground, your night, your ground. Do what you want. Everyone would have picked up a scoop of glass in their pocket. Everyone would have went on and went, the boulder and the Braver would have been bouncing on the goalpost, thinking, "I'm having a bit of this." It's a bit like what Scotland did at Wembley, isn't it? Get on that goalpost and get them down. Rip that net up into pieces. We're all taking a bit home with us. But I just think the club were almost too Premier League, if you know what I mean. It was too polished. It was too fancy and la-di-da. It was for the Sky cameras rather than the West Ham fans.
Well, I think they tried, but there was a health and safety aspect to it, so they couldn't officially done on there. But they did spend the whole build-up saying, if you step 1 foot on the pitch, it's all cancelled. Do you remember all that?
Yeah, that's why people didn't go on. Though I do wish actually they'd never done that. And they basically said, "We've got some speeches. Enjoy your night," as if to say.
But then afterwards say we don't condone anyone running on the pitch.
Yeah. However, absolutely. We don't have enough stewards for this. If flipping, the stewards would have their coats off and be on there as well. That's one of the best footage we've got from our steward friend. Not long after that game, he sent it to me. A video of him filming the chav corner, and they were coming out of the tunnel singing Bubbles, and he just skims round at the noise, even though it's phone footage. The noise is ridiculous. You've got the stewards in front of him singing as well. The steward in front of him has got his arms up singing, the fortunes. But even the stewards getting into it, and you just thought, wow. People at London Stadium now don't even sing Bubbles. They can't even be arsed. But it's just, anyway, I don't want to end on a downer. We're starting to talk about negative bits now. Let's end on a high. In the top 10 nights of your life?
Oh, yeah. I mean, certainly, sporting. I mean, sporting nights, yeah. But, that was that. Geo, I've got to be honest with you, as a West Ham fan, for that, to grow up supporting that club, to hop on the bus from Ilford with my mate Chris that I used to do and get in. And, I'd love to tell us a tale about constantly sneaking under the turns. I didn't happen. I used to get into the games, and supporting a club all your life and to be present on that night and to be able to come away. Do I have any mementos? No, but I have got
you've got the best footage. Yeah. The best. You've got your footage is better than the clubs and Sky Sports and BT Sport, whatever. Anyway, your footage is the best.
Yeah, and that's mine and our memento. And I've always said this about this. Has anyone ever said, can you have a freeze frame of this? I go, yeah, mate, because I don't. It's like that wasn't their thing to the stuff to auction off. I couldn't claim artistic rights. That's everyone's. That's everyone's hopes and dreams and experiences and joy of the night. And honestly, if anyone sees themselves on a video and you want me to freeze frame it and send you a picture, you're very, very welcome. I'd be more than happy to do that. Those are the mementos, mate. And I do. It was a special. Yeah, definitely one of the best nights of my life. 100%.
Yeah, easily for me. Easily, I would do anything to relive it tomorrow. I really, really would. Just unbelievable. But we'll start wrapping that up. We've been chatting for about an hour.
There you go.
But we knew it was going to be an hour-long video. We did know it was going to be a long video because you can't cram this in. You need to do it justice. You need to do our day justice.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't think it matters that we didn't do it on particularly the anniversary. Nah. I think this is when we decided to do it, and I'm sure it'll be received well by everybody that appreciated what a fantastic night it was. Do you know what I mean?
And hopefully you've enjoyed the footage that we've stuck in throughout. Well, one day Gonzo will do something with all the footage he's got and make a Upton Park montage, if you like. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like on it, subscribe if you're around here, and Gonzo, I shall see you at some time in a different ground.
You will. We might just be on webcams. You might have to come down to the man cave to watch it when they let you in the ground, mate. But yeah, there you go.
I'm definitely taking a memento from there.
Yeah, we got a few, mate. We got a few.
I'll spend 10 minutes soaking up afterwards as well.
Yes, yeah, please do.
Fantastic. All right. Cheers. Thank you. Catch you in a bit.